Well, nearly 54 million people each year go in for surgery. So a question that just needs to be asked, what are the risks of going under anesthesia?
Well, coming up, we're going to talk to one expert who certainly knows firsthand. It's information you need to know if you're going to be going under the knife. We'll do that after this break. This is an incredible stat we want to pass along to you this morning. An estimated 52.3 million surgical and non-surgical procedures performed every single year. That's a lot of surgery, no doubt, and a lot of people being put under general anesthesia without knowing all the risks. So we want to talk to anesthesiologist Dr. Friedberg this morning about some of those risks, because sometimes you just don't know, and rarely do you know the person coming in and doing it to you. So good morning.
Good morning.
And by the way, Shelley here is, I don't know if she's not going under the knife, but we got her hooked up just in case.
We want to show all the displays for you here.
Okay.
We want to show all the monitors. And of course, the basic risks of anesthesia is not understanding the fundamentals of what happens when you go in the operating room and your anesthesiologist can't talk to you again.
Right.
So once you're asleep, the question is, how asleep are you? And for fear of not giving you enough medication, we're always obliged to give you too much. And that was before we had brain monitors in 1996.
So what, first of all, what does happen when you are put under?
Well, you're hooked up to the vital signs, which is your electrocardiogram, your oxygen, and your blood pressure. And those things tell you everything about your body from the neck down. But the drugs we're giving you medicate you up here.
Okay.
So now that we have the ability to measure, it really is a no-brainer.
Right, so to speak.
So to speak.
All right, so what are some of the risks that we need to know about?
The risks of routine anesthesia over medication, which occur when you don't have this, delirium, dementia, and death.
I don't like number 3.
Yes, death may not be your worst eventuality, though, because if you're not the same person you were when you woke up, in other words, if you don't have the same number of marbles that you had when you started, that's a bigger problem than being dead.
I can see that would be. I like the display there. So, but
Thank you.
Does everybody use this thing now?
60% of American hospitals have them, but they're only used 20% of the time. And it's your right as an empowered patient to make sure you get this care.
Why? I mean, why would they have it, something so important, and not use it, though?
It's not incentivized.
Really?
How's that for media speak?
Well, so when you go in, you need to ask the right questions.
Yes. In fact, you need to ask those questions before you go in. Okay. Typically, when you start talking to your surgeon about, do I really have to have surgery? Okay. Yeah. Where are we going to have it? You have to do your homework, find out who's giving the anesthesia. You want to interview that person, and you want to make sure that they're going to use a brain monitor.
I'm glad we had you on here, because the few times I've had to go under, knock on wood, you're right. You don't talk to that person. You're just there in the bed, and then all of a sudden, here's the anesthesiologist. He comes in, and 10 seconds later, you're under.
Exactly. So you want to be sure that you do your homework and find out if brain monitoring is a routine where you're going to have your surgery, and if not, say, thank you very much, but I have to go where it is, because the most precious thing to me is not this $20 sensor. Most precious thing to me is my brain.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you damage it, I can't go someplace to get it fixed.
All right. What is the Goldilocks Anesthesia Foundation and Philosophy? What is that?
This is a nonprofit that I started about a year ago after I had my hip replaced and realized how important it was, because I was afraid of having anesthesia myself. And only when I knew that I was going to have a brain monitor did I feel okay. Goldilocks is a story of not too much, not too little, just the right amount. If you're measuring the patient's brain as the basis of giving them drugs, you can't give them too much or too little. It's always just the right amount. We have a little graphic over there to show you the problem.
Well, obviously, if you're worried about it, and that's what you do for a living, that ought to tell the rest of us something to, at least ask the right questions.
And that's what motivated me to start this nonprofit. I'm not making money out of this. This is actually costing me money to make sure that the American public knows what they need to protect themselves.
How can people find out more about that?
They can go to the website, Goldilocks Anesthesia Foundation. I do have a book coming out the end of the summer called Getting Over Going Under, 5 Things You Must Know About Anesthesia.
All right, Dr. Friedberg, thank you so much for coming down on this Saturday morning. Shelley, I think you were excellent.
Thank you. I'm alive.
All right, thank you both. We appreciate it.